And welcome back to another episode of Head to Head. As always, I'm your host, Shane McDowell. Today I'm joined by Sports Desk anchor Wrigley Court, Jaden Cohey, Johnny Mushin, Luca Mucciardi, Annie Watson, Luke Bell, Mia Hausman, Manny Nacarado, Ashley Friedland, Zach Macer. You look at Jameis Winston, first game, he throws for 300 yards. Deshaun Watson never threw for 300 yards.
Now, Shay. But Shay, this is what you have to. You just said Joe Flacco. Something that happens with NFL quarterbacks all the time. They have this random resurgence that Joe Flacco just had.
Jameis Winston?
Okay, I'm not saying Jameis Winston. I'm saying Joe Flacco right now. Timofey Mozgov was not a great player turned bad player. He's been a nothing player. He came from the motherland, Russia, and then he
It's like Francisco Lindor, who had a terrible start to the season, started batting .212, comes in, goes to the leadoff spot, and all of a sudden he's got over 30 home runs. He's got over 30 stolen bases. You don't think if he goes that for a whole 163
But
games,
that's the
he
thing.
can do
You
it?
have to have a full season. That's what Shohei Ohtani has put together this season. A full season of dominance.
I mean, we saw him yelling at fans, and guess what? The hoodie lurks. You might wonder why I'm talking about that. Can we take a look at what I mean? Drum roll, please. Yep, Bill Belichick.
Oh, God.
It was bye equals bye for Nick Sirianni. What does this guy do, though? He fixes that defense that's been awful for the last year. Do your job, new mentality, and what? And most importantly, peace and quiet. A lot of people hate the way Sirianni acts. Bill, he won't even talk. So guess what? That fixes that issue entirely.
Especially with the Deion Sanders slander, if anyone's going to ruin his chances of getting the Heisman, it's going to be Deion, straight up, with his representation and how he gets around.
If we're gonna talk about
That's all I'm saying.
if we're talking about the external parts about winning the Heisman, at the same point, you got to mention the fact that also helps the attention, the fame. Colorado's on national TV pretty much every week. They're big time, and they're always, regardless of how good they really are as a national contender, that doesn't really matter. Travis Hunter is pretty much putting them into these conversations as a phenomenal player on both sides of the field.
Let me talk about my other Super Bowl team for a second here. Pull it back up if we can. Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams right here. Possibly the best offensive mind, toss up between him or Shanahan with Sean McVay. I think a top 5 quarterback with Matthew Stafford, an explosive running game that just added Blake Corum to it.
Blake Corum.
He's the starting running back. I don't know if you heard. They have Kyron Williams returning punts right now.
Kyron Williams is starting. Blake Corum is not going to make an impact in year one.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because I have something very similar to that. Let's take it right here. I have the Aces winning.
Okay.
And I'm going to be very simple here. It's been a little bit of more of a rocky season.
Yep.
They're only the 4 seed. I know, crazy. The back-to-back champions are only the 4 seed. But there's one reason why, and it's their main player, A'ja Wilson. She's by far the best player in the WNBA right now, and she's killing it. I think averaging 27 and 12, 2 blocks. She's dominating the league right now at a high level we haven't seen. They beat the Panthers. So shout out to them. Once again, shout out to Ashley Friedland behind the camera over there. I cooked on that pick, and you flamed me the entire time. So, yeah, I would just like to say, look at that.
Come in, play physical, play defense.
Okay,
that type
you
of
can't
stuff.
tell me that the Devils' young roster is going to outskate,
can happen.
outperform
Hey, 'cause if we can-
Connor
if we can-
McDavid, Leon
If we want to
Draisaitl.
talk about superstars, can we bring back my graphic real?
In the words of that one SNL sketch, let's do that hockey. And so this is why my pick right here, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Very fair.
Currently
Very
ranked
fair.
4th. Their current record of 30 and 35 for the teams they've beaten. James Franklin 1-10 against Ohio State. And that's the only currently ranked team that they've played. Ohio State is their one loss in the season, and as well as their limited passing offense. But to hammer home the previous points, when you can't win your conference, you're not going to win. You're not going to be. You shouldn't be ranked as high as they are. They're ranked 4th, but they can't win the big game against those teams in the Big Ten. So if that's not going to happen, this team should be much lower. Take a look at my pick right here, Drake May. This is the type of guy, I get it, he's not playing right now. Look at my blue and red. This is a little bit of a homer pick. But if you take a look, he has elite traits, elite arm, very high athleticism, very, very, very smart, quick learner. If you've heard over the offseason, the biggest concern was about his footwork. Has already fixed a lot of those mechanic issues in terms of timing and speed and sticking up the footwork. For the grand finale, let's take it. Drake May, all aboard the Mayflower, baby. Him and Dan Marino, him and Michael Vick. He's 210 yards per game, 10 TDs, 67% completion percentage, and he's elevated everyone around him. I mean, like I said, him and Dan Marino,
Only 2 people to throw for 500 yards and 5 TDs in the first 2 games. He's averaging 9.7 yards per carry. Guess what? Mike Vick had the highest for a quarterback ever, 8.3.
He has around him as well, Pop Douglas, to name one, Kendrick Bourne. These are not necessarily NFL receivers that are the best of quality.
Watch on the Pop Douglas slander.
You're telling me
Watch
you're
on the
going
Pop
to deny
Douglas
that?
slander.
With the Justin Jeffersons in the league.
No. I'm just saying,
they're not on that level at all.
Agreed.
They are not on that level at all.
But we don't tolerate Pop Douglas slander around here. Pop Douglas, electrifying player when he's on the field. It was easy to grow, but it's great when you have a great teacher. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the crew who comes in here every week, whoever helps out. Thank you to Delaney for dealing with my messed up graphics and dealing with every single week of doing this. Yeah, it's been an honor. If I have this segment again, I promise it will be another great semester. But for today and for always, I've been Shane McDonald. Thank you so much. Thank you, and have a great day.